Hey everybody, welcome back to the Off-Farm Income Podcast. Thank you very much for joining us here on our YouTube channel. And hey, today we have a very interesting interview with you. We're speaking with Hunter Ah, who's coming to us from Merced Junior College down in Merced, California. He's going to be talking to us all about building a rodeo livestock, a rough stock company with bucking bulls. Really interesting stuff. Very interesting FFA project. And it's led him all the way to a state proficiency award in the state of California. So we'll have that coming up for you right now. Joining me today is Hunter Ah, and he is coming to us. Well, are you in Merced, Hunter?
Merced, California, yes, sir.
Okay, so he's in the Central Valley, the San Joaquin Valley of California, studying animal science at Merced Junior College, and is a former student at Golden Valley High School. Is that in Merced as well?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me. I mean, it's a pleasure.
Well, good. Well, very good. Well, I always like to start off by just learning a little bit about our guests before we kind of jump into talking about their SAE and stuff like that. Would that be all right with you?
That sounds good.
Okay. Well, so you are in Merced, or do you live in Merced, or do you live outside of town, like on a farm or a ranch or something like that?
On the outskirts of Merced, so,
okay.
I mean.
Which direction?
I live the south side of Merced,
South side.
Kind of rural area.
Okay. So out in a rural area. And how long have you been part of the FFA?
I've been part of FFA since my freshman year in high school. So,
okay. So freshman year, why did you join? What did you want to be a part of the group for?
Well, my older brother, he was in FFA, and then I was in 4-H previous to FFA. And then I just seen how my brother loved it, and I've always been involved in agriculture all my life since I was a little boy.
Mm-hmm.
My parents owned a dairy, and then we owned a ranch, and then I've been involved with cattle and really love the ag side of it. So that's why I did join FA, and I really have enjoyed it since I've been in it.
Got it. So it was the right fit for you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, very cool. Well, good for you. That's great. And I'm from the Central Valley, so I grew up just north of Modesto, so not too far away. As a matter of fact, in high school, we played Merced High in baseball. So, but there was no Golden Valley back then. It was just Merced.
Oh yeah, my dad, he went to Merced High, and then when Golden Valley, popped up, that's where me and my brother went.
Okay. Did he play baseball?
No, yeah, me and my brother, we weren't really involved in sports, considering farming and ag were our two main things.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I was wondering about your dad. I was thinking maybe I faced him in baseball, but no.
No.
All right. Well, hey, you've got a cool backdrop for doing this video. So this is one of the cool things I never get to see when I don't do Zoom, but you've got a lot of rodeo stuff going on behind you. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I got my the spurs. My mom loves collecting old time spurs and stuff. And then behind me right here is my belt buckles that I've won in my past competitions. And then the pictures behind me is my bulls competing at the PBR professional bull riding events. Just over the years, the bull at the top up there, it's Stormy Wing riding one of my bulls. I think he rode him for an 84 point ride in Fresno. Mm-hmm. Which was kind of cool, because Stormy Wing's one of the big guys up there.
Yeah.
In the bull riding industry, and it's just one of our proud achievements. And the belt buckles are also a proud achievement. If I could wear them all, I could, but I only wear one at a time.
I think I've seen a belt before made out of nothing but buckles, just kind of all like spot welded together. But you probably don't want to do that.
No, no. I wear just a simple little square buckle I won. It wasn't competition based. I got a scholarship over in Las Vegas for the ABBI. It was the Julia Moreno scholarship, which was kind of cool, and then so that was a big achievement for me. And it's just simple and doesn't poke me in the gut every time I bend over or try to do something.
Yeah, you don't look like you have a gut. Now, I've got a gut, and I get poked by my belt buckle. So, yeah, that I feel your pain. That's a real thing.
Yeah, no, it is.
Well, that's great. Well, I'm excited to talk to you about your project when I read about it, and I read about you getting a proficiency award in the state of California. Congratulations, by the way. That's really cool.
Yeah, no, I was working on one of our trucks. I was under a truck when my mom texted me saying I won, and
Hmm.
I got all excited. And I tried to get it the year before, but it's just something you have to keep working for. We were working for, and I was really really happy that I ended up winning it.
That is
My
awesome.
year out of high school.
Yeah,
So
that is great. Well, I know that you had at least one FFA advisor who helped you kind of throughout the process. If you had more than that, could you let us know who those folks were for you?
um, you know, Cody Jacobson, he was my main supporter throughout FFA. He's always been pushing me harder and harder in FFA, trying to get me more involved and
Hmm.
really pushing me at my peak. And I'm really thankful for him. I'd like to thank Vicky Davis for supporting me as well, and Rebecca Mendoza. But like I said, Cody Jacobson, he was there step by step, and he really, really pushed me to be my best. And I'm really thankful for him.
Well, that is great. Well, Hunter, really quick, I want to take a moment just to acknowledge a couple of the sponsors of this show that help keep this show going. And everybody, of course, I want to mention Lacrosse Footwear. You can find them over at lacrossefootwear.com. I always love to talk about lacrosse when we do our FFA episodes, Hunter, because lacrosse is proud to support the FFA by annually sponsoring 15 scholarships along with 100 jackets. It's part of the Give the Gift of Blue program, so it's always a thrill for me to mention them when I do these. But we use the Alpha Range boots here on our farm every single day of the year. Whether I'm irrigating or I'm out feeding, or doesn't matter what I'm doing, we're wearing the Alpha Range boots here on our farm, and we hope you'll do the same. You can find them over at lacrossefootwear.com. And then our next sponsor is one that I'm sure that Hunter is probably familiar with, and that is Powder River Livestock Handling Equipment. They just make absolutely fantastic squeeze chutes, panels, everything like that for handling your large livestock, and we hope you'll all check them out. You can find them at powderriver.com, and make sure you let your local farm and ranch retailer know you'd like to see that Powder River green in their sales yard, so you have the opportunity to buy the finest in livestock handling equipment as well. All right. Well, Cody, I see you shaking your head. I think you've heard of Powder River before.
Yeah. I mean, we're involved. I mean, with a bunch of sponsors and a bunch of stuff with rodeo. I mean, like right now we're setting up our own bucket chutes behind my house, and
Uh-huh.
keep busy during this COVID epidemic, and all that. Got to keep busy and really working with the bulls. Sponsors are really important for our future, and supporting the FA, because I mean, without them, we couldn't be where we are now.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great. Well, Hunter, I'm sorry I just called you Cody. I have no idea why I did that. I must have been thinking about Cody, Wyoming.
Oh no,
You ever rodeo there?
no, I haven't been to Cody, Wyoming. I mostly stick to California and all up and down California, and it's kind of it.
Okay. Well, you've kind of alluded to what you've been doing for your supervised agricultural experience, but it's a really, really cool project. Can you tell everybody what it is?
So what I do is it's bucking bull stock or rough stock, and basically what I do is I breed and raise bucking bulls and take them all over California. I have been out of state a couple times, but we're mostly involved in California, because I compete in Gold Coast bucking bulls events, and shout out to them for hosting these incredible events that we can bring our bulls to and compete. And then PBR, we do PBRs too in California. And what we do is we have different classes. So it'd be a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, and then 4-year-old and up. And then usually I do 2 or 4-year-old bulls, and that is they're dummy bulls where it's just a simple little like 25-pound dummy. It doesn't hurt them at all. Mm-hmm. It just goes on their back, and it's supposed to simulate a rider for them. And then the older they get, the more weight we put on them. Mm-hmm. And then what I do is we take them to an event, and then there's a thing called a flank rope where it goes around their flank, doesn't go around their private parts or anything mm-hmm. like that, doesn't hurt them. And it just, all it does is it kind of like tickles them, tickles their belly, and that's what gets them to buck. And there's 4 judges that essentially judge the bulls and determine if it's a good bull or bad bull. And there's different ways to judge. I mean, there's different things that a bull can do to earn higher points. But mostly you just want them to turn right around on that gate, and turning back's the biggest thing for them. And, like I said, we raise them, and we breeding is a big factor when it comes to bucking bulls. We can't, you can train them, but you can't really if a bull's not good, a bull's not good. There's nothing really you can do about it. It's mostly genetics and somewhat luck too. So, you could have the best breeding and not have a really good bucking bull, but breeding isn't a factor into it.
Got it. Interesting. So you're doing those competitions with those 4-year-old bulls with no rider. The judges are just watching them buck, and they're just judging them based on that.
Yeah, no. Like I said, bulls, when they're younger, they can't have a rider on them because they're too young. They're big bulls, but you don't want to put a 150-pound to 200-pound dude on their back where it's going to mess the back up. And that's what they're done for. And it's kind of it. And also when they're younger, they're we call it hot. When they're hot, it means they're meaner, and you're not going to put some dude on them and you get a guy hurt or injured.
Okay. So they're actually meaner when they're younger?
Yeah. Some can be meaner when they're younger, but breeding, like I said, breeding's a factor into it. And, when they are younger, they can be hotter, and usually they are because they're immature, and, they haven't been handled properly.
Sure. And yeah, it's new to them, right? It's just not something that's been normal for them. That is interesting.
Yeah, no.
So when did you get started with this, and how did you get started doing this?
When I started really getting involved in the bucking bulls myself, I was probably about a sophomore in high school. Actually, I didn't show at my local fair because I was doing a bull riding, and I had a show steer. Okay. And then that's when I started getting involved into it. But we've had a bucking bull. I think my dad bought his first bucking bull about 6 years ago. And then, and that, like I said, when we had the Storm and Wing bull behind me, that's when I really started getting into it. Because then, you go to a PBR event where all these hundreds of people are, and, you say, that's my bull right there. We own that bull. So that's when I really started getting into it. I thought it was kind of cool.
Very cool. So you began when you were a sophomore, but when did that PBR event happen? How old were you then?
Oh, I had to be probably in 6th, 7th grade. I wasn't that
really?
old.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And so raising these bulls for rodeo competitions, that's been something that's been going on in your family for a while?
Like I said, we really got into the rodeo aspect of it, just a couple years ago. But agriculture and beef, we've been involved in. We've had dairy cows.
Okay.
I've shown steers. I was 8-year-old, and then my parents just a couple years ago started like I said, the Gold Coast Association, where I compete with my bulls, and that was a big move, which was kind of cool. But like I said, the rough stock and the rodeo is recent, and but other than that, I've done show steers almost all my life.
So how many bulls do you have now that are eligible to go out and compete?
So at my house right now, I have over 80 bulls, and it's. Just this past couple months, we had to build a new fencing facility and a new pen for them because I had a large load of bulls come over to my house. And so, we've got quite a few bulls over here.
And how do you spend your days? What do you do every day with your livestock?
Oh, when I wake up in the morning, I go out and feed. And it's nice because I have help around here. So it's just not me feeding. I have my dad, my brother, and people to help me feed, and we have all our sections to feed, and I go out and feed the bulls down by the mangers, and it takes me even with the help probably about 45 minutes to an hour. Then we go out, check the water, make sure everyone has water, especially now because it's starting to get warmer down here, and it's a key thing to make sure they have water. and we go out and grain them in the morning, and then at night, and then during the day, we, make sure everything's good. Bulls are powerful animals. They can be 1,000, 2,000 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
and they just like them, they fight, or just like us, they fight, and they don't get along. And bulls are pinned up with certain bulls, so everything goes smoothly, and we try to have not that many fights, because when a fight happens, fences break and pins start to basically fall apart.
Right.
Water lines break, and then it's just a hassle for everyone. But we make sure everything's working properly, everything's
Mm-hmm.
safe for the bulls, because that's our main priority, is make sure the bulls are taken care of and safe. And then at the end of the day, we feed, and then we exercise and make sure that the bulls are in shape for our next competition, because you're not going to have a fat, lazy bucking bull that's going to buck good.
Right. So where do you want this to go? How do you want this business, I guess, to develop?
For me, my main goal is to, flank one of my own bulls, my family raised bulls, out of the finals in Vegas.
Okay.
That is my main goal. But business wise, I like it to where I can raise my bulls and, possibly sell them to other stock contractors, or, generate bulls that, are going to be world champion bulls.
Mm-hmm.
That is my main goals. Sorry.
No, that's awesome. That's a great goal. So what's the name for your livestock company?
We're called Diamond Bar Cattle. So when we take them to PBR events and they announce who the stock contractor is, they'll go, owner is Diamond Bar Cattle, or they say our name, like Hunter Aw, or, my dad's name, Doug Aw.
Okay. Very cool. So you're at Merced Junior College right now. You're studying animal science. So what do you want to do with what you're learning there at Merced Junior College?
Well, just this past year, I would say, I wanted to become a vet, but I worked at a vet clinic for a little bit, and I realized that wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd like to become an animal nutritionist.
Okay.
To really get animals performing at their tip-top shape, and make sure they're eating something that is healthy for them and won't hurt them in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
And just really can take care of animals.
Yeah, that is great. And is there any possibility that rodeo stock contracting could become a full-time profession for you?
Yeah, I mean, it could. I mean, I'm thinking about trying to like I said, raise bulls where I can sell them to other stock contractors,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, these bulls go for a lot of money. I've seen bulls go from $5,000 to, I mean, $100,000 or even more,
Mm-hmm.
and which would be nice. But those are top line bulls right there, and those are bulls that you're gonna go to the finals, and But I mean, I'm just trying to have a plan, just in case this doesn't work out for me,
Sure.
or if you always gotta have a backup plan,
Yeah, I agree. That's a great idea. Well, so let's talk about the FFA a little bit more. How did your time in the FFA, how has that helped you with this business and what you're doing now at Merced Junior College?
FFA, like I said, I've been involved in it all my life, and or ag, I should say. And then FFA really opened my eyes to what the possibilities are, and how much ag and FFA are involved, in the world and
Mm-hmm.
around the world. How big of an impact it has, especially down here, considering, all around me is ag base, fields around me. And I mean, we even own a chopping business,
Okay.
which is ag related, and which, I mean, it creates silage and milk and all that. But I mean, FA really opened my shell for me. I mean, it really pushed me to be who I am now. And without FA, I mean, I could say I wouldn't be who I am now. I mean, it really, I would say I was kind of like in a shell, when I
Mhm.
first got into high school. I was, I mean, pretty much everyone is, everyone's nervous, and, but FA really, got me to socialize with people, and
Uh-huh.
it made me like a good public speaker, I could say. And like I said, I wouldn't be who I am, and I'm grateful for that.
That's great. Well, I hear that a lot, and a lot of people come into the FFA, and it teaches them how to, go out and speak to people, be social, and to do all of that. Well,
Mm-hmm.
this has been great, Hunter. Before we wrap it up, I'd love to ask your advice for that incoming freshman who is going into the FFA. What should they do to take advantage of their time? The 4 years that they've got in the FFA.
Honestly, my advice for them is try to get involved as much as they can. And if you get involved and compete in the speaking competitions, or as simple as taking an animal to your county fair, or just helping out with the FFA activities, like working out like one of the fundraisers, or helping out with a dinner or something. It's just simple as that, can really open your eyes and show you how much people are there for you, and how much people are wanting to, open up your experience. And I mean, it does give you a lot of experience, and it opens up, the possibilities of working with people you've never worked with. I've seen kids I've gone to school with where they've gotten jobs with ag businesses around here, and people are really here for the FA, and they want to support you and make sure you're successful. It's really cool. And like I said, I just get involved as much as you can. And the harder you work, the more good things will come to you.
That's awesome. Well, Hunter, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing this with us. It's been great to hear your story.
Thank you. And thanks for having me. I really do appreciate it. And it's been my honor.
Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you to Hunter Ah for joining us today. And as always, enjoy your journey to the ultimate lifestyle business, agriculture.